All right, guys, we're live.
Hey, this is the Fairfax Filmmaker Group. My name is Owen Palmiotti. I'm a writer, producer, executive producer. I will be hosting today's exercise. It's a pitch and writing team exercise. We're going to break out into groups. I'm thinking of 3, and each group will assign a team leader. The sheet is basically going to run down the list of genre, title, similar films, a desired cast, a short synopsis, and your budget. You have 3 columns for project 1, 2, and 3. I will be giving out cards against humanity. We'll give 5 black cards and 10 white cards. And then you can mix and match with your team. You will try and put together some type of sequence of a story, linking this to that, etc. And then after about 30 minutes, each group will then pitch their 3 stories to the other 2 groups. And we can then invest in each other's movies by clapping, something to that nature. So, I'm thinking, do you want to shift that way?
Just for the record, we count as one person.
Okay.
I'm just.
Okay.
Bad.
Well then,
Let me join there, please.
okay.
And then you can be over here.
John,
right?
John.
Yes,
So
sir.
you guys
Give
want
it
to
Don.
do that corner 3, and then we'll do a 3?
I think somebody else will have all this.
All right.
Oh, yes, that's fine.
That's fine. We'll
Yeah,
play
we're
around
right.
and
I think to learn how to write.
Cool. All right, next. I'm going to pass out some black cards.
Wait, what's the, what do we win if we win the game?
You win
You get to keep
Bragging rights.
bragging rights.
Uh,
You get to lead the next exercise.
well, that's, I might get this Ron Newcomb guy to come.
That's cool.
And I did ask him to come tonight, he said he had a no.
No, that's fine. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate you putting the word out there and saying that and everything. He actually friend requested me the other day. That's why I was like, I've talked to this guy before, but I didn't realize he was the one running the summit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. But do hook up with him, 'cause you two would get along well.
Awesome.
Okay, so we're gonna go based on this card. See, this is supposed to be paid. White card. Something. I'm sure we can be flexible with that. We get time to vote if you're uncomfortable. Is this some spelling mistakes? Yes, yes. I'm just gonna stop talking. Ben, it's over. Yeah, okay, so I'm not exactly sure.
May I see this? Thanks. Maybe, I hope that he gives us an example. So we can kind of roll off of.
All right. Every group has 10 white cards, 5 black cards. What's that? Is that one of those? Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Alright, cool. So, start filling out your sheets. I've gotten scrap paper if you guys want to play with some
You
ideas.
might have to give us an example of this.
Yeah.
Okay, alright. If you guys want to see me improv one.
Yes.
Alright,
Tie these things together.
cool. So, I've never done this before, but I'm going to do my best. Alright, I'm going to pick, rather than doing 5 black, I'll just pick 2 black. And then I'll do 5 white. Okay. So my black cards, it's a pity that kids these days are all getting involved with. What did Vin Diesel eat for dinner? Okay, so right off the bat, I've got something that's a social concept. Vin Diesel's an actor, he's worshipped by a lot of people. So I'm thinking kids are street racing, right? Something to that extent. So he's starting some type of Street Racing Club. Cool. So then we have Lumberjack Fantasies. Being a Dick to Children. Jerking off into a pool of children's tears. We should probably close the door.
Yeah, with this game, close the door.
Now here's the thing, you don't have to use every one of them. So that's the number one rule. You don't have to use them all. The Folly of Man and Lady Gaga. Cool. So I really like the Lady Gaga element. I like Lumberjack Fantasies. And I'm not going to say that ever again out loud in a group of people. Or that one. So the Folly of Man. Okay, cool. Well, here's the thing. Santa Claus. Yeah, I don't know where I came up with Santa Claus, but the Folly of Man, that sounds something like jolly or folly, whatever. So Santa Claus is into street racing when it's not the winter season, okay? So him and his lumberjack friends are putting together street racing bets, okay? And Vin Diesel is the head honcho, he's the guy collecting all of the money, okay? So what genre would that be? That would be action, for sure.
Drama.
Title,
What about parody? That would be a parody.
it could be a parody, sure. I mean, that's the thing, is you guys can come up with either hybrid ideas, so it could either be a romantic drama, or it could just be straight comedy. You know, so the title could be Pole Shift Racers, something like that, cool, whatever. Similar films would be Gone in 60 Seconds, maybe there's some type of heist involved, where the elves are stealing Christmas presents, whatever. Desired cast, we've already got Lady Gaga and Vin Diesel, so that's kind of cool, right? So the short synopsis, I think I already summarized, whatever, cool. You guys kind of see how that's gonna pan out? Yeah, so you pick a couple things from each card. You could do not any of them, just because some of them are really inappropriate to say out loud. Like we've seen. All right. So it is 7:20.
Use that one. 'Cause you-
Let's
that
do,
one is long.
30 minutes. So 7:50. No, for all of them. Okay, so you guys got 30 minutes to come up with 3 different projects. Cool.
This has a very science fiction feel to it.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So like when I am a billionaire, I shall replace with that statue.
Yeah.
Commemorate Aaron Burr.
Who's Aaron Burr?
He's the guy who shot Alligator.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember, but there's Michael Bay's big break, was the commercial.
Someone's trying to make a lot of money
Where,
off.
Okay.
he shot Aaron Burr, or
Right.
he shot Alexander Hamilton,
Right.
and he like had some peanut butter, and then they called him, and he was trying to say Aaron Burr.
And he couldn't.
He couldn't say it.
I remember that. Honestly, that's
There was also Inside of the library.
It's this game.
Um, So it could be something historical, or we could use.
World ravaged by sperm whales.
So I guess the question is, how many do we want to group together?
Our only solace is.
Yeah, well, that's science fiction.
That doesn't make
That
sense.
one starts to feel science fiction.
Then you've got
A gas and
No, that won't work. No,
It's got a big heart.
which one would that fit?
No, how about,
Well, yeah,
But that's
this is the obvious.
So do we want to do this one?
Well, I mean, or it could be like trying to make a lot of money
let's
off
see,
it.
why actually,
Or.
What is doing?
no, it's this one.
Do like a horror movie.
Nah,
Like some scary big bald dude.
I mean, you got sperm whales taking over your district cleaning that has a subscription to Men's Fitness.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what it
I feel like
is.
these are gonna be too soon.
Thanks. Thursday, season.
But are we supposed to translate the white cards?
Perhaps there's something we can
Are they
go
supposed to
from
be
next.
the category?
Know where
Racial
Yes.
Yeah.
No, so, I
But
mean,
it's Lissa
your
Strada.
exception, I did like that.
I'm just picking these.
So you've got
No, not this.
four.
He's gonna use, what?
Oh, no, no, not
Yours
that,
is
no.
this.
So you gotta come up with 3 different unique ideas that using all of these patterns.
Most popular.
So trying to find one of the techniques, right?
Yeah.
So you gotta think.
Oh,
So I gotta test this on
That's
specific
good.
project,
That's good.
right? And then we go.
These are,
We're doing 3 projects. So we can do one and we can.
All right, so I have a new rule. If you want to swap out, I will swap out 3 white cards and 1 black card. If you choose to do that,
Oh my God.
I'm gonna improvise.
We found
All right, how many do you want to swap out?
Or you want to swap out?
Okay, 3.
It's like playing poker.
I think this is a little
but in
redundant.
range from,
Okay, so you want to swap that out?
Well, we have to develop that, because you could just give us a start on, from there, let's,
Okay, 1.
kind of flesh out the ideas and everything.
Did you guys want to swap out any cards?
This is probably the best one I think. I can only do this.
Okay, well, do you want to be in charge of that one?
Yeah.
And we don't
And
have.
nothing else.
Okay.
Yeah.
Come up with your genre, your title, similar films, your desired cast.
Special short synopsis.
We said that earlier. I can write it down.
This is a suspense thriller.
Okay.
I get down with little.
Ooh,
Well, Robert
let's
Downey's
see.
I have an idea.
criminal past.
Just like you did,
So all these things.
So we're only taking 3, do we want all 5 next, or are we?
We don't have to have them all, we just got 3 ideas, so I'm saying, okay, these go above
What's the
line.
title of your
And
movie?
I don't know if you-
And what race and what's a girl's best friend?
What's a similar film?
Okay, but how does that reflect into one of these cards? Then?
So she's gonna go to England, like the
She's wearing that, that's about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he's in money out there.
Okay, yeah, that would be.
Or something like that. Or,
That's
no, I
It's
wouldn't.
actually supernatural.
How about the ring?
The ring, there you go.
Who's your desired cast?
Wait, we'll get there. Oh, and another type of movie that's similar to this is probably, probably I would be Ryan Reynolds.
Okay.
Something like that.
The Grindhouse double feature.
It's not really like what we know.
Just have the current, the black one.
And casting, I'd probably go for like probably someone to just put some, stuff that would draw attention.
She's
It's like,
like,
here's the thing,
Like someone with star power.
Yeah, star power.
but I feel so bad about my little story. Right.
Science fiction, it's science fiction, it's science
There's always
fiction.
someone like Rose McGowan,
Science fiction. Rose McGowan.
Woody Harrelson, something like that.
pretty much where
Taking Harrelson was in Zombie, right?
Johnny Depp.
The 2 guys make a girl wear
Whatever.
the guy.
So what happens?
Okay, so if we're doing sci-fi, we want to start with this one, right? So this
Yeah,
Sony
that is the one we're doing.
exhibit on science fiction.
No, that's, something like time travel.
Time travel, okay, time travel dating.
What is it based on?
Yeah, oh, yeah, that's not gonna go.
Is something that spies on.
Yeah.
There is probably some agency related to the government that spies on like camera boxes and electricity and stuff. That makes a noise when
Okay, so you're right, so the Smithsonian
someone is
is just
asleep
on,
and they can't.
and it's on time travel.
to sleep at the same time.
dating.
So it's a.
And then I
Government
get help
agency
with a little
spies on
help from my
electronics.
historical friends.
It spies on people when they work at Delaware.
And when they can't wake up and everything else.
Do they make it satisfying? Is it like it's not?
Well, there's always the finding
Like that just well.
But being, again, I don't want to.
Yes, is it like that where they make it so you can't sleep?
But what gives me uncontrolled
Well, it's probably both. It's probably
is
both.
And they
when you
use your
time travel
windward
is-
drain waves, power the.
I wouldn't plagiarize it or something like that, but I
Well, I
know
just made that up.
maybe it would be something to do with, maybe you, maybe some, like, probably just
We have another question.
the worst case of narcolepsy.
So they give you a really bad narcolepsy.
Yes. Well, it's a severe case of both of those things.
So one or the other, depending on who you are.
Probably,
It gives you sleep disorders.
Yeah.
Well, it depends, I mean, so this is, I guess, what's the tone of this movie that we're making? Is it science
That's
fiction?
pretty much all you can come up with.
Serious? Yeah.
Yeah, I was just saying, I was wondering where you would go with third base, but you pulled out something pretty funny. What's what about your budget? What's your budget for this film?
I don't know, it doesn't seem that big enough.
So like 30 million?
Well, maybe like 50, 60 million.
Not big.
I mean, big, but not that big.
Not like.
Yeah, but like,
We got Paige on deck, I see.
Right, yeah.
yeah, say Rose McGowan, hey, Woody Harrelson, all that kind of stuff, really. Whatever.
Well, then I'm impressed.
Now, who's Rose McGowan?
Rose McGowan, oh, she's a member of the Me Too movement.
She was,
And never did feel like
She made
George Clooney.
I actually haven't seen any of
She
the
was also, she was Andy Grindhouse. She
Not
was
that I would
And she was another character actor.
Okay.
Denzel Washington.
McGowan.
Constructing additional pylons, I mean, that's, you can make that as a whole key thing that he's trying to do for the science fiction.
All right, so do you want to help with the other ones too? Or do you want Justin to take the lead on the next one?
Just do whatever you want with them, I
And
guess.
if you want to go old school, today, it's do it.
Alright, what do we have so far?
Sperm whales, the world rapid by sperm whales, rare solids,
Looking at.
Oh, Ruined by.
They could replace part of the brain.
I don't know, sounds like something out of
I was
like.
going to say, John, because this stars really
No,
picks
sounds
up
like
on
something out of an old movie. No.
Oh, wow. I guess that's very good.
Well, it has, but I think it kind of rolls off. They just, they know he's an oddball, and like, it's like, oh, okay. Like, it's like, we have a good one, but,
Possibly. Because theoretically, that one makes the more sense given the circumstance.
Awesome Pepsi.
I don't know, that's just dumb, no one wants to see that.
Everyone's looking at the
No one really wants to see that, that's just something out of like, a studio that makes nothing but crying.
It's called brainstorming, not all of the right
we'll
ideas.
be up in the dating.
Okay. Where's John?
All I think like it's.
What do you want?
This is all one? Yeah, isn't this all one or no? We could pull it apart.
Three, how many is it?
Three.
So, oh, we, okay, gotcha.
And it feels small.
I definitely think one of them should be a post-apocalyptic science fiction.
Okay, so.
So, I mean, the writer, what do you do?
Those are my favorite.
No, me too. Alright, so let's take these two out, and then we'll go with our story with these. Does that sound good? And we still have these.
Okay, you're right, those are perfect.
have rooms, different bedrooms, so it's, you know, just sci-fi studio.
Our title,
Great. Oh, that's already been used. What about something like a code name, like,
no, but how was that been if you're written by?
like probably something like, you know, like a word, like a tentative fake title, like, what was that?
So something like a government, code word or something?
Whatever it is.
Mr. Clinton?
No, like, or something like, cosmetics. You guys,
Cosmetics?
no,
That doesn't work in a post class.
no, how about, probably X-medics.
Cosmetics?
Like EX dash medics.
World War IV.
Still something, you can always.
Let's not have a number in it.
Well, I
No
don't have a
number.
number, so what I, you just convert it to PDF.
We don't want it to be like that. Can we just call it something
I
like,
do mine.
can we just call it something like, solitary street or something?
All right, in 2 minutes, I'm going to introduce another wild card. You can swap out one more black card and one more white card in 2 minutes.
Well, one thing, so you're saying, because we've got one good idea, but you're saying we have to have two others.
You don't have to. I mean, if you're like really passionate about it, but
We're past.
this is the only project that you can pitch. So if no one else bites, then you've got to map, you know. I also have this on the side. So, I mean, what's your other idea?
Solitary road.
No, roads
Like
are.
a road is sort of like a journey.
No,
It's like a track.
I go with drive. Drive sounds less.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can do that in the next swap. So you could risk waiting
Well,
until that point.
yeah.
Like these different roles.
Drive sounds less.
Similar films.
So,
I can't
How
come
about the Road Warriors? Is that a similar film to what we're doing?
Like people that have that foreplay.
Mad Max Fury Road, something like that?
Yeah, roads already been used 1,000
I
times.
don't know, this is just a similar
It's like a
movie.
lie, it's part of
Yeah.
the
So you've got driving.
Have you seen FP? Probably.
okay.
It was a grindhouse.
Okay.
Did you guys want to swap out anything in this last round?
Yeah, give me, 2 whites, white, yeah, 2 whites.
Okay, so making this clean.
Actually, what is actually called depth proof? No.
Okay,
We might actually think about a non-human
No, there's death proof and I can't
Oh,
remember.
yeah, exactly.
It's with our science fiction.
It's kind of like that where they know if you're not using that, they don't take it seriously.
Yeah, automatically enhanced clone.
Maybe Mr. Clone is
It's
like the
expensive,
name of
yeah, like,
some,
we there.
Or maybe it's
bounty
just,
hunter.
or maybe it's just a code
I've been
name.
doing it for
Yeah,
10
code
years
name
now.
for
And they all share that same thing.
No, for-
I still
It's still alive, it's gonna edit each arm.
And I just got, nobody.
For just an
But
anonymous
it's
thing.
expensive and what I don't like is you have.
Anonymous figure, that's it. Anonymous.
Okay, so Mr. Clone is some sort of anonymous, is he the bad guy? I would think he's the bad guy.
Whatever.
That's the
Well,
name of it.
I've never met him number 25, so.
But they don't say his name.
Who stars in this?
And we also don't have to use
Will Smith.
Would you write,
this is a good
so like,
story.
we
And I
have
like
watched
this
movies
because
or whole life films?
Yeah.
And then something like, there's everybody else.
The whole Spike Lee thing was mostly was actually a serious one. How much
Yeah.
people to consider?
And it, Spike Lee is so political, so it's, that's the antagonist.
I love it about it.
A micro pig is the first.
I still like this idea better.
Well, we're still using it. That's already on breakdown. We gotta come up with another one.
Department of Animal Rights.
Eugenics also sounds like it might fit in there somehow.
Yeah, well, yeah, and of course, this whole, he faces,
Sorry, I'm
Psycho
always
battle against,
Wait,
We got 13 minutes.
Did you?
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Oh, you're awesome. You're awesome.
Anti-species.
That was fun.
Good.
The
Yeah.
action was the chase.
I did not.
That's all I had.
Yeah, it was all fun. I felt so much my grandmother's farm. It was, the scary part was, I was filming this scene with the dolls hanging in the trees by myself in like a park, and I'm like, yeah, I was like in the dark by myself. But I was really worried that someone might see me out there with a flashlight or something, and they might call the police. I'm like, how do you explain this to the police? Yeah.
The first nominee for the presidential candidate.
Alright.
I don't know.
That's what we got.
Uh,
It's the greatest part of all the networks.
I don't like anything at the moment.
That's all right, Ben, you're,
I don't know if I
you gave us
fit.
the first one. That's
Yeah, a lot of it we do.
I like this.
Right, that is you.
Yeah, well, that's,
Is that how we do it? I'm just
Yeah,
guessing.
that's
Well, that's the thing, is you're just pulling something and connecting things and.
Whichever one of those I
These are
desire.
Oh, yeah. Alright.
Unfortunately, it's a comedy, it's a movie, but that's more like a serious part of the game.
Right. No, I really like that. On companies that it's a description,
Babe goes to the wall.
sort of comic Batman, right?
Ben, you did great.
Yeah, I said it was that, we rode the pig, because Babe was that pig, the pig.
Yes.
We need to step two.
The pig
That's
is
fine,
on the
that's good. Are these the ones you haven't used yet?
Yeah,
We don't
we're
really
doing
care
that, sorry,
about,
maybe.
we don't really care about
Just did like,
Robert
just
was
the-
responsible for me.
Okay.
We don't really care about it.
Even after having successful living, and I could see it.
Alright, I'm gonna throw one last curve at you. One representative from each team can talk to another group with one black card and one white card and make a trade. Only if the other team agrees. So if you don't like some of your cards and you think someone else might have something cool, send a delegate.
Oh, wait a minute. You guys got anything interesting before? I got some smallpox blankets.
I raise you smallpox and I take you.
And I got, when I was tripping on acid, something turned into something.
We have William Shatner.
No, you don't.
I'll trade you smallpox blankets from a proudly
No,
handicapped.
no.
Because like a breakout,
Oh.
and he has.
Yeah, that's the guy.
Yeah, you should.
This is just the card.
They
Okay.
can't be worse than that.
That's a pretty bad price. Keep that one.
I say, it's,
What gives me
Oh, yeah,
control.
the country thinks it's stripping.
Alright, 10-minute
Mr.
warning.
Clean is the
10-minute
villainous
warning.
Shatner who released Devastation by storm winds. In a world
See what they have to offer.
in a world ravaged by sperm whales. And
We got some,
Alright,
you guys in the market for you?
What you got?
What gives me uncontrollable gas?
This is getting
Do we want to?
That sounds like an independent animated movie. No funding for that.
It's kind of.
Get your juices.
This is the two that we haven't used. You think you can use one of these? We'll trade it.
Control behind it is good.
I would go with much of
You can
these.
actually.
I might go for that.
I like this idea.
When I am a billionaire,
No,
I
that's- that's good. We keep that.
statue.
We're definitely going with that.
Yeah.
I think we're.
Exactly, right?
Got plans for you.
Only if you let me pitch you.
All the same skills that you know.
What happened to people?
No, not as that, but I have, like I said, I have, one novel that was published 2007, and two.
The twist is that Mr. Clean has
No, it's close enough.
Well, I was just, this is for good guy, that was for play,
No, I oh, that's when they fight about the Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a business.
I look back at it.
No, he's not, but for post-apocalyptic film, we're gonna say $100,000.
$1,000.
Hey, man, you gotta work lots of different ideas,
Okay,
okay?
destroy it.
One that's 50 million, that's 100,000.
Well, I'd probably go for like 10 million.
Okay, but it's.
Anyways, so
Just
basically, which won't result to the end.
Right, right.
Is the
The twist is,
Okay.
Really, chapter, because released devastation by sperm. The world ravaged by sperm. The only solace is Will Smith getting a subscription to Men's Batman is also keep them in rural forward by throwing what gives uncontrollable gas, a gassy animal, to the main sperm cells.
Sounds unfundable.
The Mr. Clean must stop them. By the way, Mr. Clean is French.
that sounds like about right.
Sounds like something independent.
That's what we do here, man.
Yeah, we, you know, I think the independent movies not sort of like that.
Sounds like an independent animated movie that nobody wants to see.
I mean, that's not the best way to make it.
And so he took the bat Viagra, and, he's got a different problem.
How did that would have to take out?
Well, I'm sure once, the studio gets hold of it, they'll have.
Oh, yeah, they might give us more money.
It's not, it's not, you know,
So, to me, that this is where it's
I'm not gonna talk you know very well who I'm talking about.
Stephen King.
Yeah,
Greatest.
yeah.
The one whose companies recently got
Oh, right.
changed. Because stuff as if it's for fun, because really, he's saying he's just coming back to work. He's actually just coming
But then the word occupies like the Weinstein Company for, you know,
Oh, yeah.
it's all that true love.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was against the Weinstein Company from the very start before I even knew it. Because, long story short,
Yeah.
Harvey Weinstein would just handpick for an Oscar and just get it.
Yeah,
And that's
they
it.
did like some, like real underhanded stuff, to, like influence the voters.
But I'm 95% sure I would do that, you know? It's
That's
just that
pretty
we-
Harvey's most notorious about it.
The best thing to do
6 minutes.
is to watch those
6 minutes.
films instead of supporting these $1 million films that push whatever their agenda they're pushing.
It was a big, step forward for them.
So how'd that go?
I don't know, we spent like a week or so on it.
That's all good?
Back in the days of high budget movie stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, no. I don't really do that, and I've been trying to encourage Pittsburgh to more of it.
We stole our cars and made something awesome.
Movie sooner. They always say it sooner than
That's
later.
good, that's really cool. You said that around?
Everyone. Everyone says that. It's obvious.
We were on vacation. And has been,
This kid,
with exceptional line. They're in California, they hire, they train and hire Steve Gonzalez to work.
I'll be watching later.
Maybe like the top.
So work in movies.
Based on
Right.
story.
They bring him, assignment.
They do.
To make it to their movie.
Reading
Right.
his mistakes, is that you see his genius, believe in
Where we
it.
got
But he's, and you probably even better.
Awesome.
I'm a good
I
writer.
think I probably
Very
shot like
structured.
5 minutes of footage.
We made our own thing.
But it still makes those scenes like
Well, they asked you to shoot your own. Oh, okay, I thought they gave me,
It's like
No, no,
reading.
no.
did something and kind of like, hey, cut this
Well,
out.
we didn't do shots. I think we still had 2 minutes more.
I thought the
It was actually very educational because that was put together and it was
They said, oh, yeah.
and then we had to sit there, can we take this part out?
Oh, yeah.
Do this?
It's
Can you
so,
do this?
it's that line, yeah, like, yeah.
That was chopped it down. Actually looked better, you know, as a student. If you don't know that till you do.
Right.
It was educational.
Right,
Yeah, but of course I like my throwaway movies so I can get my big budget movies off the
Man,
ground.
you gotta just keep making those movies.
Yeah, but that's not the
So you could
movie.
do what
That's not the
program.
movie I was
Still good.
Yeah, but
So it's like a broad thing.
I got the schedule planned out for a movie based on Kim Possible. I had to stick to that. It had to, which it said to come out in 2005.
All right, 3 minutes. 3 minutes.
Can we just
You're
keep this?
You're on song.
Can we just
So
keep
what-
this on pace?
I have over the top stuff. I'm not a performer, but.
What's your
Anything
favorite?
of my interest.
What's your
It's just-
Public radio.
I'm an artist.
I know what your favorite one is. I know what
Place for cybernetic
It's probably
enhancements.
either
So
Psycho
get
or
around saying, I'll save your life.
I never.
the original Psycho, to be exact.
Yeah.
Not the current one that's the same.
Remake by Vince Vaughn, right?
Oh, that's awesome.
Actually, that was from Gus Van Sant. He was a better filmmaker than that.
Email the pitch to your Oliver, bring here, would you?
That is
Survey
right.
building.
It should have never.
They could have just done it a whole lot differently. Whenever you decide to do something again, do it differently or don't do it at all.
Right.
Whatever.
I find it, if it's a masterpiece, you just don't mess with it. You can't.
Yeah.
You could have just done you could have just done like another sequel to the first one and told everybody else about the other sequels.
Psycho was kind of
Put all this technology in my whole, my
piece of film.
Yeah, so.
So that's how it's so iconic too.
Writing.
And look what they're doing now.
A 50-foot statue.
There's like 10, they're coming out with one more.
But the new one is a direct sequel to the original.
Yeah, but then for some reason, the second one turns out it's from the original left off.
The Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah, Jimmy and Curtis is in this one. It takes place.
She died in.
H2O.
Actually, that was.
But that one never happened.
Actually, that was Resurrection, I think.
Because you got 1 minute left.
That's
She also died.
When you get to pitch it, when you get to
She also- There's probably too many timelines in that franchise.
That's confusing.
You can't.
Yeah, I mean, all you need to watch is the original one to get prepared for this new one. But the Halloween 2 is actually the only good sequel outside of those two.
Right.
he was using the eugenics program.
Yeah, it was okay. It wasn't I don't think it was the best. Like you said, the original was the best. But, you know, I think the original was
And then they did a reboot, and then they did a remake of the original, Rob Zombie, obviously.
All right, everybody, time is up. So I'm going to start off.
We'll talk later.
I'm going to start this off by telling you what my cards are, and then I will be going down the list
In your own time.
and telling you about my project. Okay. So
What's your name?
when I am a billionaire, I shall erect a 50-foot statue to commemorate. Step 1, blank. Step 2, blank. Step 3, profit. You must construct additional pylons, a brain tumor, cybernetic enhancements, and Dick Cheney. Okay. So, our genre is sci-fi comedy. Our title is It's All About Dick. Okay. Similar films would be Terminator, I, Robot. Desired cast is Dick Cheney, obviously. So the synopsis is basically Dick Cheney, okay? So Dick Cheney is a failed politician, all right? He discovers that he has a brain tumor, and when he's seeing and consulting with doctors, he has one opportunity to get a surgery. And the doctor says, you can either die if you don't get the surgery, or you can live, but you have to live as a cyborg. So he agrees because he wants to live life. There's things he wants to do with his life. He ends up getting this massive surgery where half of his insides are removed because of this cancer. And essentially, he discovers a newfound passion and love for real estate dealings. So he becomes a broker. He decides when he's in the hospital recovering from this massive surgery, he's reading magazines, he's seeing all of these things that are being listed, and he discovers that I I can do this. So he ends up buying a lot of land with some of these dealings and the connections he had from his past life as a politician. And what he ends up doing is using this step-by-step program, he recruits other people and becomes a mogul. He runs an empire. And essentially, he decides that with all of this money that he's now made, I'm going to build a 50-foot statue of myself to commemorate this fantastic journey that he's gone on. He ends up then, unfortunately, not paying attention to his architect, who decides we need additional pylons to support this massive dick statue. He obviously doesn't pay attention, and while he is now inside of his statue, spying on all of these people, because in these communities he's placed a lot of cyber technology to kind of see what everyone else is doing, so he has the inside scoop on things. The building topples over, and his dick statue falls over and traps him inside. That's it. That's all I got.
Very nice.
All right, so I'm thinking we just hop group to group and just keep rotating.
Wow.
Justin, if you want to.
Ben, do you want to present your
I wanna go last.
Okay. So the cards we have is. Did you read the black ones first, then the white ones, or just
Whatever.
Okay.
Just, these are your cards, basically.
In the world ravaged by blank, our only solace is blank. Sperm whales, a subscription to Men's Magazine.
Men's fitness.
Men's Fitness Magazine, sorry. William Shatner, Mr. Clean's right behind you, a gassy antelope. What gives me uncontrollable gas? I do not know what weapons World War III will be fought with, but World War IV will be fought with blank.
Okay.
Okay. So, we did a post-apocalyptic drama. Title is Solitary Drive. Did you get the title?
I did.
Yeah, okay. Other movies that are similar, I've said the FP or Mad Max. Our desired cast is Will Smith. Okay, so a villainous character, Mr. Clean, who has released devastation on the world by sperm whales. So in a world ravaged by sperm whales, our only solace, ravaged by sperm whales, our only solace is Will Smith getting a subscription to Men's Fitness Magazine. So he can end World War IV by throwing a gassy sperm whale with a gassy antelope with uncontrollable gas. And then we had like a twist where Mr. Clean would be William Shatner. Yeah.
Sounds like one of those movies that would be so bad the internet would love it.
That's the kind of like.
Like The Room.
All right, next
Like The Room, I
All
guess.
right, we have something come up, we're calling this
They made a
date
movie
night.
You want us to read the card?
That we use.
Yeah, the Smithsonian Museum of Natural History has just opened an interactive exhibit on time travel dating. What's a girl's best friend?
Cool.
Ronald Reagan, John Wilkes Booth, and Axe body spray.
We're calling this date night at the museum. Night at the museum, time machine, and dating game. All rolled into one. So they were inspired by all of it. Our dream cast, we'd love to have Johnny Depp and Jennifer Aniston. We figured we might be able to get them. Maybe Jennifer Aniston. Some of the others we think we would get. We don't know if we're dealing with an imaginary budget or not. So, okay. And what it's going to be basically, it's going to be history. You know, you read all the hunks and honeys from the past and the present coming together. So you got Ronald Reagan there. You got in his prime in Hollywood, Johnny Depp. I mean, it's a new guy. And John Wilkes Booth, good-looking man, he's right there too. That's your first trio that you're going to have, and the girls pick, and you can, obviously people are going to come in there and see this exhibit. You're going to be able to participate yourself, and you know, we've all wanted, how many times have we wanted to go back in time and be with Loretta? I know I have. So that's our show.
I dig it. All right. So what I'm thinking is, rather than having everybody go, and then we forget what people were talking about, we can kind of pause and offer constructive criticism. So I'll kind of start. The first thing I really liked was you say this means that. And that kind of paints the picture when you're pitching someone. You have 5 seconds to hook someone. If you hook them with just this, you're in. I mean, why talk more? Because at that point, their wallet's already open. Anybody have other constructive criticism for any of those first projects?
Yeah, I need to learn how to read my own handwriting. Sorry.
About other people's stuff?
No, I was gonna say for yours. I think it'd be funny if you like actually shot a construction worker because you thought it was a deer, and that's how it is.
Okay.
I was thinking the ending would be like in being John Malkovich, like he ends up, he's cybernetics and he lives forever and then he's stuck in the same kid.
Oh.
I dig that. I dig that. Okay. Kind of like the Twilight episode where he breaks his glasses and only likes to
Right,
do
exactly.
movies,
So,
Yeah.
but then he
Which
can't read
Twilight
his
to be exact?
There's Twilight Zone.
You like the.
Twilight Zone?
What's that?
You was deep into your story, like your story.
So I actually went off script because the thing is when you're pitching, your passion is what pitches things. It's not even what you say. I could talk about shit and people. We're still recording. Sorry. Hi. But if you're passionate about it, you can literally sell it. We have 30 minutes to come up with 3 different ideas. It's 10 minutes per. I didn't even really look. I mean, I had 1 or 2 bullet points written for me, but I kind of just wung it. I just improvised. And that's the thing is, as a writer, you don't really do that because you have structure, you have formatting, you have a story structure, character arc, etc. But when you have a pitch, you have to figure out instantly how the crowd is reacting to your scenario and your pitch and your world and your characters and stuff. So I talk a lot.
And for your group, what I was impressed with and what they really highlighted this weekend is I felt the structure. They kept emphasizing that all the judges this weekend kept saying, I want to hear structure of the 3. And obviously, in the short time you had, but I could feel the flow of yours, and that was real impressive, of what your group did.
You just were feeling Will Smith, I know.
That's
But I could follow the story, and that was really impressive.
Awesome. All right, you're up. Unless anybody else want to throw in?
So, our cards, my card, follows them. So, what's the most emo? A sassy black woman, a profoundly handicapped, eugenics, and what is George W. Bush thinking about right now? So, the genre is more political drama. So, the title of it would be called emo. And so, the synopsis, when you hear emo, you immediately think, goth, darkness, but it's actually more emotional and black. So the similar film would be Spike Lee's Lysistrata. Desired cast would be Bruce Willis for George Bush and Rodney Stevenson for The Woman. So basically the synopsis is, all the conspiracy theories of George Bush. Well, there's years later a documentary that comes out that basically says, 20% of them are real. One case was that he got a black woman pregnant. So years go by, she goes up to him and says, look, we had a kid. He had no clue. He attempts to kill the kid. Well, he ends up making him handicapped. So he has a firm that's producing all these illegal eugenics, and he attempts to use it on the child to get rid of the kid. So she's discovering all this, and she's trying to get the story out, but it keeps getting covered up. And so George Bush is thinking about what is this going to do for my future and what's going to happen. And so, yeah.
I actually had that in my book, Hidden History. Her name was Maria Shovno. It's a black woman that was raped by George W. Bush and died mysteriously afterwards. And the only place you could find it, I scoured sources. I found it in the only details about her death were in a London newspaper that catered to the black community there. That was it. She died after she had a lawsuit going against her, and she died mysteriously. It was total cover-up. Total science. I thought you knew something.
No.
It's based on reality.
Awesome. You guys ready?
Anyone yours?
Does anyone else have to go?
It's it's our turn, and you're the only one
I
left.
thought I was last.
Well, you're last on our group.
So, my cards say, why can't I sleep at night? Third base. I have to see if your handwriting makes enough sense.
No, you want me to read it, or you want me, you got it?
Let me see if I can,
Sorry.
let's see.
You
I
think
think
I
I might have dyslexia in this case, so we might have to. Alright, which one is it?
It's this one.
Okay, whatever. So, it's a supernatural suspense thriller. Third Base is the title. Similar films, Cross Town and Park. Okay, whatever.
Then you remember what we were talking about, why don't you just go off what you were
During-
talking about? The rain,
Death Proof, sorry, Burnt House.
That was my rating.
Solitary. He has really, really bad handwriting.
Appreciate your honesty.
Decided cast, declare cast, desired cast, Woody Harrelson, Rose McGowan, Johnny Depp, Keanu Reeves,
give Johnny Depp a lot of work.
Yeah.
Third base is a segment. Who writes
It's
this?
a government agency.
I can't. Government
You came up with it, Dad.
is a
Secret government agency.
secret of the government who spies on people when they can't sleep and asleep or wake or waste insomnia make
Here, why don't you
Just
tell,
describe it.
why don't you tell your story without the paper?
Yeah, you don't need the
Because
paper.
I just kind of shorthand write it.
So what's third base, guys?
paper anyway.
Yeah, so what's third base?
It's some government facility that tracks, whether you can sleep or something, and it gives and a certain noise it makes gives you really bad narcolepsy and or insomnia and stuff like that.
So it's a secret government agency that messes with your sleep habits.
Yes.
Controls people who are
That's
sleeping. And what's our budget for that?
The budget is 50 to 60 million in production.
Lots of CGI.
Well, Johnny Depp, if you want to steal him away from you guys.
Johnny Depp's
He doesn't have work, he needs to be working.
We probably just.
He needs a lot of money right now.
Yeah.
No, Johnny Depp is in the Pirates of the Caribbean 6 now.
He's,
Needs money.
he needs
I'll have to
a
come
lot
up
of
with somebody
jobs.
else then.
No, he's gonna be in Pirates of the Caribbean 6. He's still
He
working.
got ripped off by his money guy.
Is that right?
Who's up next?
We are, again.
Excellent.
So our cards were.
I like Alice in Wonderland.
Our second and last one.
Yeah, we don't have a third.
That's okay.
But they're both.
Unless you just swing it.
I'm definitely reading. Smallpox blankets, a micro kid wearing a tiny raincoat and booties. Robert Downey Jr. When I was tripping on acid, blank turned into, and when I am president of the United States, I will create the Department of. This is a sci-fi. The title of it is Babe Takes Over the White House. Similar films are Babe meets Charlotte's Web meets Animal Farm. Our desired cast is just Robert Downey Jr. He is our talking pig. It's a movie about a pig that becomes the first president of the U.S. His first point of business is to implement mandatory mud puddles at every home. Before his policy could take place, the country has an outbreak of smallpox. Then before things got out of hand, the main character being Robert Downey Jr. Finds out that he's been tripping on acid for this whole time,
Sounds like
and
it's
he thought he was a pig.
Now, is this live or is it animated?
It's cartoon.
Cartoon.
Yeah.
Got it.
Sci-fi.
So I can see that as like a hybrid.
Mhm.
No, just all animated, I think. You know, like.
Awesome.
Okay.
Okay, so all three groups have gone the second round.
Yeah.
Any constructive criticism across the board?
I don't have anything.
I like the government conspiracy to steal people's
Yeah.
sleep.
Like any government conspiracy.
Thank you.
What I write about.
Thank
So,
you.
no,
Sleep is
No questions asked, no compliments, I don't need anything.
I liked Robert Downey Jr. as the pig too.
Again, that wasn't.
Yeah.
third round begin.
Of course, y'all are big.
I got nothing in the
Sorry.
first
You're being-
Yeah, we don't have a third one.
Oh, they
You got the real thing. Our black card is what is Batman's guilty pleasure? Our white cards are half-assed foreplay, an erection that lasts longer than 4
You might want
hours,
to turn off the video.
and court-ordered rehab.
This is gonna be good.
So what we're thinking is kind of like, Batman gets the raunchy comedy treatment a la Scary Movie. And our movie is called Blood Flow. And we're thinking Ed Norton, someone really serious for Batman, an Ed Norton figure. We probably want someone more comic for the people around him, like maybe, Kate McKinnon is Catwoman.
Nah, it would just be a parody.
Yeah, and Melissa McCarthy is maybe is rehab. I don't know, someone. Anyway, the basic idea is we all know that Batman is a problem, right? We all know that this dressing up in rubber and going out and beating up people, it isn't just because he's got issues with his parents. He's got other issues. Only at some point it kind of stops working for him. And it all comes to a culmination when he's got, a love scene with Catwoman and they're beating each other up, but he's just not being effective. All he can come up with is the half-assed foreplay. And so Batman being Batman, he decides, he's gonna make this work better with a combination of super science, and he gets Wayne Industries to get to work on solutions, and meanwhile he goes into super training, and you put it all together and they come out with Bat Viagra. And it is effective. It is really effective, and thus we get the erection that lasts longer than 4 hours. And he goes out there and he is tearing his way through Gotham City. I mean,
Fighting crime.
Yeah, fighting crime. Oh man, crime is really taking it. And it's going really, badly for crime. And he goes a little too far. And what's even worse is he tries it once and he goes too far, and he realizes he goes too far, and he knows he has to stop this. But it felt really good. So we start working a little Jekyll Hyde thing where the good guy takes the drug that makes him into a bad guy and he becomes addicted to it and he really can't do it. And it all sort of climaxes, I suppose you could say, with when he is finally caught and sent to court-ordered rehab.
Very nice.
I don't know, that sounds like that canceled Superman movie that was almost made by Kevin Smith. That got ruined by producer meddling.
That's kind of like that.
Nah, it sounds like that canceled Superman movie, Superman Lives, where Superman could not fly and had to wear a different suit and had to fight a giant spider in the third act.
That was the real thing.
But Nicolas Cage, Superman.
That's the one.
I think it was,
Sean Penn.
no, it was
Well, they never made
Nicolas Cage
I know.
was supposed to play Superman.
Oh, that's right, Nicolas Cage.
I'm glad
That
Tim
would have been a
Burton
very
was supposed to-
different
Yeah.
Superman.
Actually, no, that was Kevin Smith.
Well, Kevin Smith was gonna write it, but Tim Burton was gonna direct it.
Yeah, but Kevin Smith.
Wow.
Yeah, but Kevin Smith was going to direct it, but he was bombarded by the producer too many times, giving him random requests for things that he wanted
There
to use to
was
sell.
a movie about that movie.
Oh, yeah.
It looked really bad.
Alright.
And not only that, but the giant spider idea it only happened in Wild Wild West.
So,
I
every
heard
group
that
has,
too.
you said you guys only had two?
Yeah.
Okay, you guys
Real
can
time too.
Yes.
Can I say
Yeah.
something real quick though, and again, just from the experience of this weekend though? I didn't present, but I would have loved to have this, and every panelist gave the advice, says, when you get up, the first thing when they start off, they said, look, we know you're excited, but you have 90 seconds. Had I been presenting, and one of the things I'm gonna take away from this is, had I had this to say, hey, the genre is sci-fi, the title is this, a lot of people would go right off and, spout off and forget to even say who they are and their name. I mean, one of the things I could think, maybe if you put in who you are
Yeah.
as a person.
It does say team name at the top.
But this is a sensational
Awesome.
matrix here, or
Thank you.
column.
I mean, I've definitely heard that you should know what the movie is about within like the first 5 words of the pitch.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's interesting too, I don't know about, your experience, because you were actually out there in Hollywood, but one of the other contacts I've made over the years is Robert Ben Braun, who's a screenwriter, he wrote the Night at the Museum movies.
Yeah.
And he told me that, like, he's still like, when he's, because I asked him, who's the biggest jerk celebrity? And he told me, without hesitation, Billy Crystal. And he said, and I heard that many times before, but he had pitched to him, he said, and they'd already had successful movies. And he said they just started tearing him and his partner Thomas Lennon apart. Within 10 seconds, making fun of their tie and all this. I mean, just so I mean that's so establish a guy like that, because it depends on who you're pitching to. I would imagine you wouldn't want to pitch to Billy Crystal, I guess.
No. I mean,
Not Billy Crystal.
maybe.
Hey, but can I ask you guys what you guys would, I thought this was fascinating. So the first group of people were the writers.
Sure.
The second ones were the actors. And I thought, what do you think though, the investors with their suits and all that kind of stuff, what do you think they thought was the most important thing you do in your 90-second pitch? I was surprised what the investors said was what do you think what they considered the most important thing in your pitch?
Passion for the business.
Yeah.
That's it.
What's that?
So the writers did that, the actors, the second, they said, they even used the example, if you come up there and go, my script is this, and it sounds perfect, if I don't see the passion,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna,
So last year I had a film in DC Shorts, and there was a pitch day where they had someone teaching you pitches, and there was a pitch competition, and I had my pitch already, and then I listened to the pitch competition, and they tell me, and it turns out everything I had planned to say was wrong, and it was and it was very much the tell them in the first five words, because I was going to sort of lead them into it and make what the movie is about a sort of punchline. It turns out that was completely wrong. So I had to sort of make it up as I went along. And I ended up going off into this tirade at one point about Mary Poppins of all things. And they gave me a lot of credit for the passion, for showing the passion. I ended up winning the pitch fest. That was nice.
yeah, but that was the biggest, and the guys with the money, that was their most important thing.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Because they said, if you don't have the passion, then why would I want to give you my money?
and the other way I think of it is, for any piece of art, somebody has to care enough to make it happen. And if nobody cares enough, and nobody's going to care as much as the person who's originating it. And if you don't care enough to make it happen, it's not going to happen. So why would I give you money?
Yeah.
So I'm going, when do we leave?
Yeah, we're done till, I mean, we got up to 9.
Okay,
So
cool.
we can.
So I was gonna do an ending and then we could break. Okay. So since I last presented, I've got some good updates for my project, Madhouse Mecca. We secured international and domestic distribution with Freestyle Digital Media, so video on demand, cable on demand, and DVD. My new project, Back on the Water, is currently being read by the director of The Man Who Knew Infinity. I've also got Chris Evans, Captain America, reading it, and CAA. So in the perfect scenario, my first film gets me out there for people to see. You can check my IMDb credits. You can then see, oh, this guy's got stuff, I'll throw money in. Because at the end of the day, it's hard to go from an indie film to a $50 million mega blockbuster. So in the meantime, I've attached myself to a lot of projects. If you ever have like $500 and you just want to build credits, one of the smartest things you can do is go on Indiegogo or Kickstarter and see the projects that have over 100% funding that are still looking for money, because then it's a guarantee that they're going to make it. So then if you throw $20, $50, whatever, you can put your name on a bunch of different stuff, and pray that it goes well. I mean, I'm more selective with my projects. I do about 1 or 2 of those donation things per my project or my circle's projects. So, you know, I've done a lot of stuff in the last few years where I built a team, and then when they have projects, I jump on their projects and consult and help them with the ideology of fundraising, because that's a very crazy concept that people don't really know how to do. I actually raised $170,000 on my first feature film, and we raised $30,000 for my second feature film. We actually got 60 minutes of the new film cut, and this is not the canoeing one. This is called Everything You Are. It's a psychological thriller. So basically, you know, we're trying to get a lot of different genres, a lot of different, you know, broad spectrum feelers and reachers, so we can have a lot of cool synergy with the group. We have lots of different skill sets. We've got actors, we've got writers, we've got producers, we've got this full encompassing concept. And then, yeah, we'll just take over the Hollywood scene from Virginia.
There you go.
That's my goal.
Did you guys all see a site that, I mean, I went to the IEM, you know, that your page.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, your video.
Oh, thank you.
So are you saying, so if you, I want to make this, so if you go to these places and you donate money, and they reach their goal, and they go into production, does that make you an assistant producer?
So on some of them, they list their perks. So it'll say like for $25, you get your name in the credits as a special thanks.
Okay.
$80 to $100 is an associate producer. You know, $250 is an executive producer. So if you are looking to build up your credits and get involved with people, that's not a bad idea, because the thing is, you got to be selective, because if you put your dollars into a project that never gets made, you've got literally nothing to show for it. So you got to be specific. You got to look at your cause analysis kind of thing, because, you know, for me, it's like I could put $1 into my next project, or I could put $1 into your project and kind of let you do your magic. I can kind of, you know, I also offer the consulting element too. So if I throw money into a project, I'll be available to show them the ropes and kind of make suggestions and stuff of that nature. Or I'll connect them with actors or crew or this or that. Because that's the thing, is I can't keep putting myself on other people's things. You know, so as the flight attendant says, don the air mask, you know, before you start helping others. Because if you die, you can't help other people. So I've been trying to consistently help other people while shoring up my team, while looking at the big picture thing that's on the horizon. Because right now, like, there's a lot of nibbles on my canoeing script. And it's actually based on a true story. It follows a father who sacrifices his 1924 Olympic game to watch the birth of his son, and then the son winning the gold medal 28 years later in honor of his father. And it's a true story. It's set in DC. It's beautiful. Unfortunately, Frank Havens just passed away at 94, so we're now doing a service for him this weekend, actually, and then I'm just going to make this movie. I've actually joined the canoe club.
Thank you so much
You're
for
welcome.
sharing all this and for coming. Like, I think we all. And sharing everything.
No problem. I can turn it over to questions, or we could discuss internally, or what do you?
First of all, we're not gonna do live anymore, so. All those fancy things you wanted to say with the.
Where was this going out live, over Facebook?
I just put it on YouTube. I was recording it, like our stuff. I was like, why am I doing that? I'm just put it on live on YouTube and then don't have to worry about it. But anyways.
Where are you on YouTube?
I'll share a link to the page so that everyone has it.